In this edition of Campus Report, Jorge Hernandez takes us inside a new hype over an old Albuquerque team.
And Denny Kinsler sits down with the new Lobo Baseball head coach.
And later, Kemi Turpin investigates how to donate your time and have a little fun too.
And finally, reporter William McCleary takes us inside a high-flying event at the Kirtland Air Force Base. I'm Katisha Mercier.
And I'm Jody Mullen, and this is Campus Report.
Local coverage. Student perspectives. At the University of New Mexico. From the KNME studios, this is Campus Report.
The Albuquerque Dukes were sold 8 years ago to an investment group in Portland, Oregon. Many believed it was the last time they'd ever be seeing the smiling conquistador. But Jorge Hernandez tells us how the Dukes' popularity is once again rising, and thanks to one man.
Since 2003, the Albuquerque Isotopes have been attracting record crowds to the ballpark. But could an old friend be making a comeback to put a face on Duke City baseball?
You have a love for something, you want it, don't you? You want to grab it, hold on to it. And I had a love for the Dukes because of the tradition and the history of the Dukes. And I felt it shouldn't belong in Portland, Oregon. It belonged back here, whether a team used it or not.
Fred Matusi owns the rights to the Albuquerque Dukes logo. He has been trying to change the name from Isotopes back to Dukes since buying it in 2003 after finding a loophole where he discovered that if a logo goes unused for more than 3 years, it loses its trademark. Matusi sells Dukes memorabilia exclusively at New Mexico Look, where all his earnings go to charities.
People in this town grew up with the Dukes 40 years, and they love the Dukes to this very day. And we sell a ton of Duke stuff.
And with the rising Dukes craze, other companies are trying to get a piece of the action. Recently, the sporting store Fans in the Coronado Mall was selling Dukes baseball hats without permission. Matusi and Fans are settling a contract which will allow the store to sell Dukes merchandise. But not everyone is thrilled about the reissuing of Dukes gear. Pete Rael is a collector of vintage records and anything vintage Dukes.
I don't like to use the word throwback, but that's more like in hip-hop, everything goes back to like original things. Like as far as myself, even like collecting records, I won't buy reissues or newer stuff. I'll collect, the original stuff. Same with the Dukes. I'll buy the older stuff, the original thing, like the Dukes thing. That's why I won't even buy like even the new stuff they put out of the Dukes, like the reissue stuff. I still look for the Goodwills or the garage sales to find the original Duke stuff,
Jacob Benitez is a lifetime Albuquerque baseball fan, but if he had it his way, the team name would be
Dukes. That's what I grew up with. That's, you know what I mean? But it's cool. Isotopes is cool.
1915, they were called the Albuquerque Dukes. And, they change names once in a while, just like right now it's called the Isotopes. But hopefully one of these days, if a new owner comes in and wants to use a name, we will negotiate with him.
Reporting in Albuquerque, I'm Jorge Hernandez.
This year's Lobo baseball team has a new look, and they call him Ray Ray. Ray Birmingham takes over the reins as head coach and already has the team at the top of the league and pushing for its first NCAA appearance since 1962. Denny Kinsler recently sat down with Ray Birmingham to see how he has handled the challenge.
There's a new sheriff in town for the Lobo baseball team. Ray Birmingham comes in after spending 20 years at New Mexico Junior College. He talks about the major differences between the junior college level and the Division I level.
These kind of things. Beforehand I just went to work without anybody wanting to talk about it. But in all those situations, there wasn't any hoopla or interviews or speaking engagements or fundraisers. It was just me and some guys and some kids and some friends that would help me.
Birmingham admits that the task of rebuilding this team is daunting, but he is ready for the challenge.
Obviously I got a mountain to climb, but it doesn't scare me, and I knew it coming in. But that mountain seems achievable because of the people.
Senior Ian Hollick says the experience of Coach Birmingham has been helpful to the team.
The thing I like most about Coach Birmingham is I love his enthusiasm about the game. He finds ways to motivate his players, different ways, and it's different for every guy. And I think he's really good about finding those spots on each guy and trying to get the most out of them.
Even though the level of competition is greater at the Division I level, Coach Birmingham says his coaching style has not changed.
You're always a work in progress, and you're always making adjustments. If you can't make adjustments, then you're in trouble. And if you think you got it figured out, then you really don't. So, but overall, you know, I've always preached we and us, team aspect. I've always preached discipline, commitment, hard work, all those things. And they're true in anything, at any level.
Just this past February, New Mexico Junior College dedicated its baseball field in Birmingham's honor. Coach says it takes a community to build something special.
But I built it with those people's help. People gave me free dirt, people gave me materials, they gave me expertise, they gave me some labor. You know, they gave me things, and people help people who help themselves.
Even though Birmingham is in his first year with the Lobos, he has the team in position to win the conference championship. Hollick says that's all the players can ask for.
Well, it's always a hope, you know, it's always a hope. But after we finished last year and a couple of our key players were gone, it was, I don't know, I was hoping to be in this spot. It wasn't a definite expectation.
And yet Birmingham knows that while winning conference championships are nice, if he cannot reach his players, the overall success of the program will suffer.
A guy told me a long time ago, he goes, if you approach it to take every kid on your team to be a better player and a better person, you'll win your championship. So I'm looking at it from, okay, here's what I got. I got the best that I possibly get, and I was teaching them how to play and compete and go get them. And then those other things will happen, and that's the approach I'm taking here.
In Albuquerque, I'm Denny Kinsler.
Raising money for local charities isn't always about hard work. Kemi Turpin takes a look on how helping out could be as simple as bowling.
Bowlers of all ages and levels worked together recently to raise funds for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central New Mexico. The organization held its annual event, Bowl for Kids' Sake, on Sunday, April 13th and Sunday, April 20th at Starlight Lanes in Santa Ana Star Casino, with over 200 participating teams.
I'm bowling to raise money for Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Jeanette Schaefer, the special events coordinator for the local Big Brothers Big Sisters chapter, says the event was extremely important this year to raise funds needed to maintain matches sponsored by the organization and search for volunteers.
Bowl for Kids' Sake is Big Brothers Big Sisters' largest annual volunteer recruitment and fundraising campaign. Bowl for Kids' Sake is important to Big Brothers Big Sisters because through the funds raised through Bowl for Kids' Sake, that goes back into our programs. So each person in our community forms a team of 5. Then they spend, the few months before the Bowl for Kids' Sake raising awareness and funds, and we ask that each team raise about $500 each. So that's about $100 a person when it comes to a team of 5. And then we take that money and we put it back into our programs to create and sustain those big little relationships.
Big Brothers Big Sisters works with children ages 6 through 18 to form a one-to-one friendship with a positive adult mentor. The organization has been around locally since 1969, and last year they served over 1,000 matches. Schaefer says the funds raised through this year's Bowl for Kids' Sake have surpassed other years and are necessary to keep the program alive.
This year was our most successful in the history of the agency. It was our 25th annual, so it was our silver anniversary, and it was our most successful ever. So right now we've raised a little over $90,000.
Reporting from Santa Ana Star Casino, this is Kemi Turpin.
Today we have Katie Wesselman here to talk a little bit about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about, the organization?
Yeah, well, the organization has been around for about 100 years in America, and it actually just got started about 40 years ago in New Mexico. Pretty much what it is a nonprofit organization, and what it does is it fosters relationships with mentors for young children, ages 6 to 18, with responsible adults.
Oh, that's great. Can you tell us, how do people sign up to be a mentor?
Well, there's 2 main ways that they can sign up. They can either go online and send an application in which Case Big Brothers will take a look at and get back with you, and you can do it that way, or you can also call them. So either way.
Okay. Now, I heard that Big Brothers Big Sisters just recently celebrated a big milestone.
Yeah, they actually just celebrated their 25th silver anniversary for a fundraiser that they just recently did, Bowling for Kids' Sake. And what that was, it was basically they do it every year, and it's a chance for people in the community to get involved and to really just show their support for the community and the kids involved. So basically, they put together bowling teams, and they can pledge like a minimum of $10 per person, and they have a team of 5 people, and it's a good time just to get together, get to know some of the people. If people want to get involved, if they're interested in being a mentor, they can do that there and pledge their support.
Great. Now, since this is an annual event, about how many people do you get signed up during this bowling event?
It just depends. Like there can be pretty much any number of teams. Like we try to get as much people as we can. This year they raised $90,000, which is the most they've ever raised any year of their fundraising. So it was a pretty exciting thing. So
well, that's great. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Antique and modern-day aircrafts descend from the sky to make a landing at the 2008 Kirtland Warbird Flyin. Top guns that soared through the times of war helped visitors understand the history of aviation. Members of the Aero Club at Kirtland's Flight Center gave aspiring aviators information about how to get some wind beneath their wings. Our own William McCleary reports on the aerial display.
Across the way from the Albuquerque International Sunport, pilots from around the world flew in their aircrafts to the 2008 Kirtland Classic Warbird Flyin. 20 classic jets, helicopters, and other specific aircraft models were put on display for visitors and fellow pilots to share the experience of an outside World Aviation museum. Pilot and physician John Johnson flew in his Soko Golem aircraft from southwest Missouri to join up with the Flyin. Johnson says he appreciates the opportunity to exchange special interests in aviation.
And then when we are allowed to have a display like we're having today, meeting the public and talking with them about our interest. Most of the people who are here have some interest in aviation as well, and it's just a lot of fun to meet them and show them around.
The display of aircrafts produced lines of people that awaited their chance to take a seat in the cockpit, as well as ask the pilot some questions about how to maneuver through the air. Helicopters that were used in the hit TV series MASH and in the actual Vietnam War became carefully monitored playgrounds for children and adults. Other combat helicopters also caught people's attention at the Flyin. Pilots took time to explain the similarities and differences between combat helicopters and fighter jets to the visitors. Public Affairs Officer for the Spirit Squadron, Norman Reams, says the Flyin is a great way to show historical aircrafts and the history of aviation. Reams believes the Flyin gives the Air Force a chance to let the public see what their tax dollars are being spent on.
It is a fantastic event, great opportunity to see multiple aircraft from various countries, some really nice antique aircraft. It is a major effort in order to be able to do this. A lot of coordination. The folks that came and set this thing up, primarily through the Air Force. Air Force personnel contacted the folks that have the aircraft from the Warbirds, and they did a really great job, fantastic job, and really impressive.
Civil Air Patrol students upheld their duty to maintain public safety by watching unsupervised aircrafts while the pilots were away. Kirtland Air Force Police kept an eye out for visitors that raised any suspicion beyond the interest in the aircrafts. Many pilots say the Flyin produces a high turnout rate of war veterans and active duty personnel. The reason for this is that it enables them to relive some of the good times they managed to salvage during their calls of duty. The Flyin sent some of its visitors home feeling more patriotic about their country.
There's a couple of famous airplanes out here. There's some new airplanes. There's a lot of history with some of the World War II planes that are out here. So yeah, I mean, we're losing our living history because our veterans are dying off. The last figures I heard for the World War II veterans, we're losing 12,000 a day. So keeping stuff like this preserved is a vital part of our history, because we're going to eventually lose the oral history that we have.
Charles Kreis, a volunteer for the Aero Club at Kirtland's Flight Center, says he's at the Flyin to greet people and further develop their interest toward a career in aviation.
The club right now has about 200 members. About 50 or 60 are really what I would consider active members. Unfortunately, it's a little expensive, particularly with the increase in gasoline, but it certainly is an interesting career field or just a hobby.
For the visitors at the Flyin that are inspired to become future aviators, the Aero Club at the Kirtland Flight Center is always ready to put new members up in the air. The Aero Club is a full-service recreational and flight training activity offering a complete line of professional aviation courses. The club has 14 flight instructors to help train students for their private pilot's license or all the way up to becoming an airline transport pilot. Aero Club manager Joanna Ernai says she's proud to be a part of a well-established government entity that offers excellent pricing and safety maintenance.
Well, because we're a top-notch club. And actually we have, there's a competition within Air Force for 5 stars. And we're actually a 5-star rated club. And you not only get the FAA experience, you get the military experience because we're governed by both. And wonderful maintenance, excellent maintenance. Instructors like, safe, well-maintained aircraft.
This is William McCleary reporting at Kirtland Air Force Base.
William McCleary now joins us in the studio to tell us a little bit more about the event. Welcome, Will.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell us a little bit more about the fly-in?
Yeah, the fly-in is where pilots from all around the world bring their aircrafts in for display, let people look inside and just explain a little bit about world aviation. So it's free to the public and it just gives people a chance to really see different aircrafts.
Oh, okay. Now, you also spoke about the Aero Club. Now, what is that?
Well, the Aero Club is out at the Kirtland Flight Center, and it's owned by the government. And it has about 14 flight instructors to help people get their standard pilot's license. And if they want to exceed that, they can do that as well. And it generally costs about $6,500, and most people take about 50 to 60 hours just to get the standard pilot's license.
Are there any age requirements?
Well, most of the people, if they want to be, they can have like a membership. If they're older, they can have, like the youngest member is like 8 years old, and his mom's also a member, so she takes care of him.
So after they get, their hours and everything like that, they're a licensed pilot?
Yeah, there's such thing called like a private pilot's license and then like a commercial pilot's license. So, and that takes a little bit longer to achieve, but they offer both at the club.
Okay, well, great. Thanks for being here.
No problem.
In a previous edition of Campus Report, Danielle Block reported on how Isleta Pueblo has gained infrastructure from their casino. Earlier today, she sat down with Robert Ortiz, planner of Santa Ana Pueblo, to get their perspective.
Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. In what year did the current Santa Ana Star Casino open?
Danielle, we opened the Santa Ana Star Casino in 1993.
As far as the profits from that casino, what have they gone to contribute to building within the Pueblo? The revenues that have been generated from the casino have provided for the essential governmental services of the Pueblo. We've been able to build infrastructure, facilities, and provide for educational assistance for students and renovated homes. We don't do a per capita distribution at the Pueblo, so each family, each member has the opportunity to seek a scholarship from our education program or seek various assistance that we provide to the community. When we were talking earlier, you told me about a child care facility that was built using a portion of the casino funds. How much was contributed from the casino profits? The facility was over $1 million, and this was a Pueblo state-funded project, and the state, I believe, contributed probably 75% of the funds, and the casino was 25%. And the total cost of this facility?
The facility was over $1 million.
Overall, in your opinion, do you feel that the casino has benefited Santa Ana Pueblo, or just what's your take on what they've created?
Since starting the casino, it has benefited the Pueblo, and not only the Pueblo, but all of New Mexico and the country, in fact, because we provide employment to tribal members, other Native Americans, and non-Indians, and so we have provided a revenue source or employment and other benefits to the tribe when we purchase materials or equipment, everything else. It comes off the reservation. So directly, the state of New Mexico benefits also in the revenue sharing that we provide to the state.
Thank you very much, Robert, for coming. I really appreciate your time and your efforts to get down here.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You know, that Aero Club sounds pretty cool. I mean, I've been getting a lot of like sky miles lately, so I actually was able to join a club myself.
You know, with all the traveling I've been doing, I'm in a club too, but I actually belong to a different kind of club.
Oh, well, that about wraps it up. I'm Jody Mullen.
And I'm Katisha Mercier. Join us next time.